really
We don't need that
secret.
page. That man looks so fucking goofy when he first shows up. His head looks like this big fat head.
All right. Let's see. I got my notes up. You ready?
Yeah, I just gonna I'll put my notes up. I'm good. Let's do it.
All right. We'll get going here then. Hit record. All right. There it goes. All right. How we doing? Weird Science. This is Brandon. I'm coming at you, of course, along with Trevitt for this week's Marvel Minute. And due to popular demand this week in the vote on the Twitter page, looks like Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, #1 is the winner by a resounding margin. What two didn't beat out this week? This is our segment where we quiz ourselves and see if we can even remember the other two books. Silver Surfer, #12, and I don't know.
I don't know either. What was the other one?
I don't know. Bad radio right there. But anyway, we're going to get into things here because that third one was the trailing choice anyway, so it's really not important. But this is a new Spider-Man book. I know they have 20 out already, but they want some more. And this one is helmed by...
WMD? Sorry.
What'd you say?
WMD?
Yeah, you're cutting up in and out there. Are you downloading comics while we're doing this?
Shit.
Stop him.
I think I'm having my DNS error again. Shit.
Well, we're going to have to cut this out here.
Hold on.
Yeah, this will suck your breath up if you're doing anything.
Behind 10,000 people.
Here, kill the video too.
All right, hold on. How are we doing now?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Let me check something
out.
out.
The video?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Everything's back to normal now. Oh yeah, it was WMD.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll get another clap in here. We'll start that over.
Shit.
All right, how we doing, Weird Science? This is Brandon. I'm coming at you along with Trevitt for this week's Marvel Minute. Due to your choices and the voting on Twitter, at BMur and at Afranatic, you guys selected the Spectacular Spider-Man, #1. So we're going to bring that to you, and it ended up beating out Weapons of Mutant Destruction. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Weapons of Mutant Destruction.
And Silver Surfer. And to be honest with you, after I put up the vote, even though I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, I was kind of hoping to have an excuse to read a little bit of Silver Surfer. But anyway,
yeah, me too.
I want to check that out. But I just needed a reason to. But anyway, we're knee deep in Spectacular Spider-Man here. This is the first issue. Besides the free comic book day issue, which gave you a little bit of a taste of things to come here. Writer is I never can say this right. Zdarsky, right?
Yeah.
Chip Zdarsky.
That's how I always pronounce it.
And then art team Adam Kubert. Let's see. Colorist Jordi Belair. And those are the credits as far as art duties go. Marvel Comics, of course, is the publishing company. And we'll get into our blurb here and then spit the bit, let you guys know what we think of this this new #1 or jumping on point for Spider-Man book, in case you're unfamiliar with the character for some strange reason. Anyway, the much hyped pairing of Spider-Man and Chip Zdarsky is here. The internet seems to appreciate it so far, if you look on Comic Book Roundup anyway. And this is supposed to be Spider-Man reconnecting with grassroots in New York City, with a little bit more of a traditional flavor to it than the Amazing Spider-Man title that's kind of, long running and ongoing story at this point. So it feels like a wait of forever, because didn't you feel like this was announced in goddamn like January?
Yeah, I do. I felt like
am I the only one that feels that way?
I think that's why. The anticipation was building forever. Like,
yeah.
what a, it's like a wet fart for me though. Like,
yeah, I know. I was just gonna say that as I finish this blurb here. It says, after what feels like a wait of forever, what do the Marvel Minute Boys think of all the hubbub? It's bullshit. So let's find out. Anyway, we'll just get right into things here because there's a hint of what we think of it. The issue starts off with a brief, six panel? Yeah, 6-panel, 1-page summary of the origins of Spider-Man in case you don't, for whatever reason, know it.
You're in a coma in the last 50 years. Like,
yeah, if you've avoided the last 2 Spider-Man movies in theaters that have recapped that, or any of the many Spider-Man issues that have, were true believer issues that recap this, here it is again for you. And then we quickly find out he's telling this to one of his best friends in the world, Human Torch, Johnny Storm. And he's like, why are you telling me this? He's like, I know this story. Which is probably one of the few times and few jokes I did appreciate in this issue, because it didn't feel like completely forced in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love that where he's like, I don't care.
Right? And you can almost like, yeah, I don't care either. It's like the reader saying
Me too.
Anyway, they set up, the gist of this conversation is they set up a time to meet later and maybe check out a movie. And another joke here in the first 3 pages is that he's like, let's not go see a superhero movie. Those things are so unrealistic. But anyway, this is also the first of 1,000 guest stars in this issue. And I'll recap between the 10-page free comic book day issue and this issue, how many guest stars are just in these 2, brief appearances so far. We'll get to that at the end, though. Anyway, as we continue the summary, Spider-Man ends up swinging off and Johnny Storm ends up flying off in opposite directions. It seems like, he immediately called on the phone, because that's his ringtone, if I understand what's going on here, right? The pretty woman.
Yeah.
He gets called by Aunt May. So pretty woman is Aunt May's ringtone for some reason. And they're having just, a random conversation. Yeah, I know, isn't it? At the top of, Peter swinging through the roofs of New York. And he notices a mugging going on. So he ends the phone call, drops down to help this lady being mugged, and immediately discovers that his web shooters are clogged for some reason. Do you think they're just clogged for this special thing, this bullet web he's trying to shoot or whatever? Or, because he was just swinging 1 second ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I think it's clogged just to take us to the next part of the story, because
then he swings away right when this is all over too.
I know, it makes no sense. It has to be just for that particular cartridge. But even still, if it's that particular cartridge, how the hell did he swing away? And he owns a tech car. He's a tech billionaire. His web shooters don't work. He's got cars that drive up buildings, but his web shooters aren't working.
Yeah, so his web shooter is clogged here, which opens up the story for Ant-Man to suddenly appear and kind of help him take out these muggers. I don't know where Ant-Man was hiding. Was he hiding on the muggers and just letting them mug this lady?
It looks like that. It looks like that, yeah.
Because that's what I'm like, where was this little fucker hiding, waiting for everything to go down?
Oh, God.
So he comes to what normal size he can achieve at this moment, basically, little people size. We'll find out why in a second.
That was funny too. That was good.
They knock out these villains. They find an old hacked Stark phone on the floor, and Ant-Man basically reveals he's stuck at I don't know what, 3.5 feet, 4 feet tall, because his helmet's jammed up. While Spider-Man flirts with this chick they saved named Rebecca London, and she's like a comedian. And all that goes on in about 3 pages. It's a fucking lot going on here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so Spider-Man has this thing going on with this chick, and she looks all right. I would take her number if she gave it to me. I mean, she looks good. But anyway, Spider-Man and Ant-Man take off to go get their shit fixed. And this is where we, Spider-Man mentioned his, his web shooters were jammed, but he's flying away. And Ant-Man is down to tiny size, flying on his shoulder with him. And they go to this dude Mason's secret lab. And Mason is the Tinkerer's brother, who we find out. And he helps just like random heroes who know about him. Yeah, he totally does. That looks like Andre the Giant, but as tall as Andre the Giant compared to all these characters, the way he's drawn. And he's like kind of a secret to the heroes that know about him, because he's a little peeved at first. Ant-Man doesn't follow procedures and just brings Spider-Man along, but gets over it in record time,
There's protocols.
Yeah, and then he just I don't know, like we're doing the best we can to summarize this, because this thing just is a fast moving issue that doesn't really do a whole lot of guiding you along the way or setting anything up. His web shooters are fixed pretty quick, while this kid in Mason's lab takes the phone Spider-Man also has and starts hacking it, leading them to the next part of the story.
Which makes no sense.
I know.
Because Ant-Man does not need the helmet to shrink. Like, he shrinks on his own because of the Pym particles in his system. He has a lab in the helmet that he shrinks down and goes into. That was Hank Pym's lab. He gave it to him. Makes no sense. Like,
well, that's Ant-Man stuff that's got you all continuity kid going continuity kid on us. But I didn't know any of that Ant-Man shit. But he basically also makes Ant-Man like a little taller than his normal height. So what happens when Ant-Man takes the helmet off? Does he shrink back to regular height, or is he now always like taller?
He'll always go back to that size. He'll always go back to being taller than he was.
Okay, which was weird.
Still makes no sense because of the rules of Ant-Man,
Yeah. It's just a weird, really random and kind of like big thing to put on Ant-Man in a Spider-Man book, and whatever. So Ant-Man upgrades. Spider-Man's web shooters are fixed. Just to recap for everybody what's going on here. Even though they seem to be really kind of working fine, except for one instance when it was convenient for the story. And then the Stark phone shits out a lead for everybody to just follow. So that's what happens here. We skip to 5 hours later where Peter is in Chicago. So I guess this is where the phone has told him to go, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you understood?
The information that, the little kid got it when he hacked the phone, which this impenetrable, like these phones that you can't hack, this little kid that nobody's ever heard of can hack. Like,
yeah. So the Stark phone that can't be hacked has been hacked once already, because it was hacked when Spider-Man picked it up, and then hacked again. So it's been hacked twice, a phone that can never be hacked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, Peter goes to the airport. He's in the O'Hare Airport in Chicago. He, I guess, is bored in the airport, so he gives this Rebecca chick a call and sets up a coffee date with her. I don't understand how this is going to work, because she doesn't know he's Peter. She only knows he's Spider-Man. So he's going to go on a date as Spider-Man.
He's going to have regular clothes and then just the mask.
I don't understand how that works out.
How about this bad joke is like just what the non-octopus doctor ordered. Like, that was so bad.
Yeah, there's I don't know. We'll get to it when we have our final thoughts, but there's so many jokes where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to laugh here. And I'm just like, ugh, I'm cringing. I'm making that sound instead. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yuck. I openly said out loud several times, yuck. I'm like, that's an awful joke. Like, these are jokes I would write in a comic book. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody that's paid to actually do it.
Definitely cringe-worthy jokes.
Yeah, it's bad. And then we flash back to New York, where Johnny Storm is just hanging outside Peter's apartment, because even though he told Peter not to forget, Peter forgot.
That was kind of fun. I did like the part where the dude walks up the door. He's like, "Hey, aren't you?" And he's like, "No." And then he looks back at his phone.
Yeah, that was. There's like, the jokes aren't all bad. There's a few that are pretty good. Like, that's a good one. You know what I'm saying? But like the ones that are, the rest are super cringeworthy. Anyway, Spider-Man hops off this train in Chicago, lands in this neighborhood, and knocks on this front door. Well, I really have no idea where he is at this point, because I don't read other books. He's like, come out. Kind of acts like police-like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, come out or before you're arrested. He says something along those lines. I don't feel like reading it word for word from the page, but
maybe arrest you. He's like, come out and talk, and sure, maybe arrest you.
Yeah,
probably not.
Just stupid. And then the garage, the side door in the garage opens up, and is that Riri? Is that what I understand that is?
Yeah, that's Riri.
Okay. I thought it was like an upgraded Shocker at first, because this book's coming out right around the movie, and Shocker is in the movie. So I thought it was like, oh, Shocker with the super tech suit, but Riri. I just don't read her book to have like her suit down by memory. You know,
it doesn't look right though. It looks more like Tony's suit than Riri. Yeah. Riri has like a little bit more of
it doesn't look like a female suit at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a male suit.
It looks like the Iron Man suit when All New, All Different started, and not the Riri suit. That's what it looks like to me.
Me too. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. So she blasts Spider-Man. He goes flying. He's like, sure. Life is a series of negotiations. That scene ends. So that's our cliffhanger for Spider-Man. He gets blasted by Riri. So that's where this Stark phone led him to. So I guess Riri is one of the people that can hack a Stark phone. But I don't know why it ended up in the hands of criminals. And that's probably what Spider-Man's there to find out, you know?
Criminals in New York, and she's in Chicago.
Right. She's in Chicago. I don't understand how these are, you know, whatever. And then we go back to Johnny Storm, and there's this girl who approaches the stoop he's hanging out on. And they kind of start exchanging words with each other, and he finds out that it is Teresa Parker, Peter Parker's sister.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, you asked you. I think you sent me the text about this, right? Earlier in the week.
Yeah.
You're like, who the fuck is this? And she was in the OGN. It's called Spider-Man Family Business, written by Mark Waid. And that's where she was basically introduced. It was proven that she wasn't Spider-Man's sister at points in the story, but then at the end of the story, it was proven she was possibly Spider-Man's sister through like flashbacks. So and that's how it ended, and it's never been revisited until now. So that's where we're at with her saying she's Spider-Man's sister. It's not a bad. You would like it. The art is really stylized, but it's cool.
Is it?
And you know, it's a Mark Waid book, so it's written well. You know what I'm saying? Just like people had problems with the continuity, introducing a Parker sister. You know what I'm saying? And
that's a hard pill.
That was pretty much people's main beef with it, if you go to the internet and look it up. So that's the end of this story. That's how it ends. And then we get a backup featuring Black Widow and Shield, well, basically working for Shield. And they're trying to, we find out in the end, secure Spider-Man's spider sensibilities. That's what I understood from all this, and I don't know if it's like a continuing backup that's going to be in each issue, and this is going to be a $4.99 book, or not. Like it's going to All-Star Batman this shit, or what? Because this didn't feel like the end of a story, did it to you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Even though it says "end" with exclamation point.
Not to mention that I enjoyed this part more than I did the previous part of the issue, and I actually want the story to continue.
Well, because it was an actual fucking story and not just a series of events to get to the next goddamn joke you're setting up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the end of this book. It was a $4.99 joint. If it's something you're interested in, but you know how we do things. We tell you to buy it, borrow it, or forget it altogether. And then price does factor into things here. I'll take the honors, since I guess I'm the bigger Spider-Man fan, even though you are a huge Spider-Man fan as well. Well, I don't know, man. I want to say just flat out, forget it altogether. And then I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to save it or wait to spoil that, because I spoiled it pretty much in the beginning. Between this #1 issue and the Free Comic Book Day issue that I read, like both of the stories are totally independent from each other. as opposed to like Defenders that set up the story you were going into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And neither of those two issues did I enjoy. So like they don't pick up on any of the threads they set up in that issue. And then they start totally new threads here. And neither of the threads really interested me moving forward. And the jokes in both were just not very good. I actually thought the art in the Free Comic Book Day issue was worlds better than the art that we got in this issue.
Most definitely. It really was. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, like I don't know what happened in between those two issues. Like this just feels like it's very rushed. Spider-Man's lines on his suit look like just messy and sloppy, and faces when they're not the person talking look atrocious.
Dirty.
Yeah, like dirty is a good word for it. Like there's no eyeballs on anybody. It's just like no emotion or anything, or people just always look mad. You know what I'm like? Mason always looks mad when he's not the person talking and he's a background character, or Andre the Giant as we refer, because that's what he fucking is. Since you said that, I can't get that out of my head. Like he's a 7 foot tall character that looks like Andre the Giant.
He's got the face.
That was the character model for fucking Mason right there. And I'm going to recap here the characters we've seen so far in the 10 pages of a Free Comic Book Day issue and this #1. We've had Mary Jane, Vulture, the chick who was the cliffhanger that stuck Spider-Man and Vulture to that chimney at the end of the Free Comic Book Day issue. I forget her name, and I didn't look it up. Then we started here with Johnny Storm, moved to Ant-Man, went to Mason, went to Ironheart, Captain America made an appearance, moved to Teresa Parker, and then had a backup with Black Widow and S.H.I.E.L.D. So, like, we haven't even hit 40 pages of this book yet, and that is our cast of characters here. And if you don't know who they are, good luck, because none of them are introduced to you, with the exception of Mason, I think, and a recap of Spider-Man's origin. I don't know about you, but the 2 copies of this book that I got 2 of them because one came in like collector corpse box that I got, are both trash. Like it feels like it was printed on fucking recycled newspaper and they didn't even like wash it. It's not double thick. Like for a $4.99 book, I get All-Star Batman with like a cardboard fucking cover, glossy. The pages are awesome. Like, you know, and for a $4.99 Spectacular Spider-Man #1, I get recycled fucking trash newspaper. And that's exactly what it feels like. I can't describe it any other way.
No, it really does. So, it really does.
Yeah. Like forget this book altogether. Don't buy it. Comic Book Roundup right now is firmly giving this book mouth hugs. I mean, like it is
8.5, I think.
Spectacular Spider-Man dick, and it is not that good of a book. Yeah, it's no 8.5. If I had to give it a rating in Weird Science, this thing, it would be like 3.5. The enjoyment level that I had for it, it just wasn't good.
I want my money back.
What did you think? Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I want to start with the Free Comic Book Day issue because that story, at the end of it, it says, for more on this story, for continuation of this story, pick up Spectacular Spider-Man #1. And that girl's name was Trapster. And you're right, this art was 1,000 times better. It was like glossy, beautiful, clean. Like Spectacular Spider-Man looks like Adam Kubert drawed it. Like drawed it. What the fuck? He penciled it. And this, I feel dumber just for reading this issue. I mean, listen, I said drawed it. Now it looks like he penciled it and then took a giant eraser and erased everything, repenciled it, and all those eraser marks are still on the page somewhere. Like that's how I felt about this book when I was reading it. The pages just
know where to go. Yeah, that's almost like they just, even though I think he's also the inker because nobody else is credited.
He is. I'm sorry. I think like there is no ink. There's just pencil and color over the pencil.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, there was no continuation of the story like they pretty much promised.
You there?
Stopped on the roof, him and John.
Whoop, I'm losing you. Hello? You there?
Damn it. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yeah.
All right,
I can cut that out. Just go with start your thoughts over again.
All right. So, oh, fuck, I don't remember. Oh, yeah. We're having a shawarma moment in the beginning of this book. So instead of picking up from where the Free Comic Book Day issue left off, we get a shawarma moment. And they even say they were having that, which is kind of like something that does a callback to the Avengers movie. Like, it just tries to be too cool for school. Like,
yeah.
It tries to be too funny, and it's not. It's got a lot of bad jokes. I don't know if they're bad on purpose, but they're bad. It's seriously.
I don't know if they're bad on purpose.
I don't know, because how can anything be this corny, this cheesy, this bad? And I'm like, is he trying to like make jokes from like the '60s? Like if you go back and read a Spider-Man comic from the '60s, the dialogue's like super cheesy and the jokes are super bad.
Yeah.
And this translates right into that. So it's like, oh god, so bad, Chip Zdarsky, or like, but where was I? Oh yeah, so I didn't really like this book. I didn't like the Ant-Man fuck ups, like, you know, the whole, oh, I can't go back to regular size because it's, you know, the helmet, it, like Pym particles and Ant-Man and Giant Man and Yellowjack and Wasp has nothing to do with the fucking helmet. Has nothing to do with it. Originally, like the Pym particles were like a pill form and then like an aerosol, but then like eventually when the user uses it so many times, it just becomes a part of them and they can shrink and grow at will, you know? So it just makes the helmet thing just so fucking stupid.
The helmet thing is the movie. The helmet thing is from a movie. That's like how it works in the movie almost. You know what I'm saying?
Well, in the movie, he has to have the helmet on. The movie rules are a little different. He has to have the helmet on, or else, like when you shrink, it could like fuck with your mind, like you know. But
it's like the device Yellow Jacket. That's what Yellow Jacket goes through in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Because the Pym particles are like unstable, which is just weird because it's not part of the history of Ant-Man. But it's the little the belt thing that works. Like he puts the Pym particles inside a little cartridge in the belt, and he just like turns it and hits the button and shrinks. But and then they have like a bunch of people just show up just for the sake of showing up, like the Captain America cameo. It's just, and you're right. It's just a series of events that kind of go nowhere, and they just want to show up. They just want to show that it's connected.
I guess the overall story now is we find out from Riri next issue, like why she hacked a phone, which might lead us to the point of the book, but I don't know what the point of it is right now.
I don't either, because like it's not continuing from, as far as I recollect from reading the Free Comic Book Day issue, it's not continuing that story. And if it is continuing that story, it didn't let us know. It didn't set up any kind of rules. Like it's just, and for $5, man, for $5 like I had this whole rant to myself yesterday about Marvel Legacy.
Yeah. Oh God. And we'll get to that.
And this book, this book, I even wrote like a statement about it. And this book is just, it's just the fucking icing on the cake, man. Like $5, like seriously, $5 and there's no quality. Like I've been downloading a lot of comics from the 60s and 70s lately and 80s, and it is not up to snuff. Like we do not get stuff the way we used to get stuff. Like it's just, it sucks. It's a fucking forget it altogether. Like you better up your game, Adam Kubert. You're better than this, dude. You're better than this. Chip Zdarsky.
I can't even say like the issue felt rushed to market for the movie because they've announced this so long ago. You know what I'm saying?
So long ago, yeah. Like it should have been perfect. Like they had so much time to work. Like Chip Zdarsky was doing Star-Lord, but Adam Kubert was doing nothing. So Zdarsky's doing 2 books. He has Sex Criminals with Matt Fraction, which he's just an artist of. He's not writing. So it's not like his writing juices are like, getting wasted or whatever. But the only other book that he was doing was what, Star-Lord, and like it's over. Like he's had so much time. So many writers are writing like 9 books. Like he's writing like what, 2, drawing 1, and you just can't do it. You can't get it up. Like
this wasn't.
The guy needs a dick pill. Not fun at all.
Yeah, it wasn't. So that's it, guys. Party is over on our end. We're going to wrap this up here for you. If you're interested here in a few more books, we'll get Carl's thoughts and mine and Trevitt's as well on those. on the Marvel Madness Comics podcast tonight. We'll record that. It's usually up Monday afternoon. So if you want to hear more of us ranting and some Marvel Legacy news, that's where you can catch us. But until next week, we'll put the poll up Monday for 3 more books. You can holler at us all week long if you think our opinions suck. That is at Beamer3660. Trevor, where are you at?
At Afron Addict.
And that's where you can get us. But until next week, guys, party is over. Like I said, we'll holler at you then. Adios.
Peace.